Heard the beat down cooking, Richard Allen, had the Hugo no cookies. Shit down, still rough, rugged, baby. I pull up, they running up. That's something in love with the stick, our titties, just drumming, the engine kitties, pounding, I'm burning, something like baby.
Why don't you just contact us and buy from us? You won't believe the prices we give you. So now, to sum those up, the total cost will be 1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory. But why Hermes will charge you 38,000 USD for one bag? That's because more than 90% of the price is paid for its logo. But if you do not care about the logo, you just want the same quality, same material, you can just buy from us. Because for our bags, we use exactly the same material, same leather, same hardware, same edge oil.
Welcome to renttv, luxury thrifts, cheap finds. So today is not specifically about any product that we found specifically. It's kind of about China. This whole back and forth between China and America, it feels like a cold war in a certain way, or at least a war of words. But this is very interesting to me just because I'm into clothes. Say you ever wanted to start a brand, or you wanted to take your love for clothes to another level where you wanted to actually step behind the scenes of that, where you actually want to get into making clothes. This is very interesting to you. Oh, I think this would be interesting to you. So China revealed that 80% of all these luxury brands get all their stuff made in China. I know a lot of people would think, oh, we kind of already knew that. But not necessarily. If you're into clothes, there's this negative connotation to, especially when it comes to luxury brands, that if it says made in China, it's a bootleg version, right? But then if you see it's made in like an European country, it feels more authentic, because a lot of, I would think all, if not majority of the luxury brands usually are European brands. Funny thing is, I kind of tapped into a version of what they were saying, what the Chinese were saying. They went into details about how, so these brands go and get everything made in China, right? But technically, if you get things made in China, you'd have to put made in China on it. So the loophole that they create or found is they would just take it from the factories in China, but it wouldn't be complete, and they will basically put it together in an European country, and then the tag will say made in whatever country that is. It's the same thing I was kind of going into when I did a video on one of our series called Ride For You, where there was a plane was made in America, but the expense to make it was way too high in America, where it's not as cheap compared to if it's made somewhere else. So what they'll do is, or what they did is, they took it to Mexico, where all the parts and everything gets made in Mexico, where it's cheaper to make over there, and then they'll just ship the parts and put it together in America. But it was still, and then it would be labeled as an American brand, but it was still too expensive, so the brand kind of had to file for bankruptcy. But the Chinese are saying that's what actually these luxury brands are doing with all these Dior, Louis, Dolce & Gabbana, all these brands that people are in love with. It's all made in China. So whenever people do go and buy something and people claim it's bootleg because it's made in China, the Chinese are saying, nah, it's the same as all that other stuff. It's just, I guess they're not sending it to the factories overseas to assemble it or to attach the logo on it. Even though bootleg stuff do exist too as well outside of that, but that's something that just exists everywhere. But the crazy thing with it is, I actually had an experience with this when I was in high school, right? So when I was in high school, I had a friend, and it's funny how he does imports and export now. That's what it, last time I checked, that's what he did when he grew up. So, but we were in high school, and he used to have all the Dunks. He used to, it's like a Nike shoe that was really lit back in the days. A lot of people wear them now too, but Nike Dunks, the SBs and stuff, he used to have like every version of them. So, and he was a friend of mine. So eventually he put me and the rest of my other friends on to how he was getting them. And he was buying all these shoes for like $20, $10, $5 from China, bro. And they would ship it over here The only thing he really had to spend money on is the shipping and handling. And we would ask him like, bro, so that means these are fake? And he's like, no, bro, they're real. So what he found out was, I went into details to ask him, so how is it real? So what he did was, he would talk to the bro, and this was before anybody was going on Alibaba or any of that stuff. What he said was, he would go and actually talk to the vendors. This is way back then, bro. He was doing all this. He would talk to the vendors and he would build a relationship with them, where, and it's kind of funny how that's what everybody's doing now. He'll build or at least people who are sharp, that's what they're doing, or know about certain things, that's what they're doing. He said he would build relationships with them and he would find the ones that could actually get him the real stuff right from the factories. And he would hit them directly and they would send them all this stuff. So he used to have Burberry and all those stuff. Like, he would get all that stuff for like $10, $5, $20. Like, he put me onto like hats, because I like hats. Even back then, I like hats. I had like 20, 30 hats. I was always into like snapbacks, fitted hats. I used to order from there, bro. When I was in high school, I used to order from there, like from China. You get the hats for like 20 hats for like $20. You can get them for it was like $2.99, $3.99 for all these hats for any sport team you like. And it's all authentic. But I also had like a bad experience where I had ordered some Jordans. But I didn't really know how to do it. Like, around that time, he didn't go into details on how to do it. And they came, but they weren't really they weren't real. Like, those were fake, just because you could tell they're fake, because you could always tell the fake because the material that they use for the fake, as far as it's almost like it was made out of cardboard in a way. And then I had this one, I think it was a Sixes. No, I think it was a Sixes that I had. And they were fire, bro. It was a color wave that was fire, right? And one day I was wearing it, and one of my guys who was a sneakerhead, who actually ended up selling me a shoe, he told me, he's like, bro, you know those are fake, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, they don't even make those colors. And ever since then, I kind of stopped wearing them. But they were nice. But the funny thing with them is they will peel. It's like they will peel off. Like, the color will start peeling off. You know, it will start peeling off. Or some of them, when you wear them, they start taking the shape of your feet. Whereas, like, you know, you could tell the fake. But the thing with it is, like, if you talk to the people that you're getting it from, and you form a relationship, you could actually find ones who actually get you the real stuff from the factory, and you paying like $10, $15, $20. So a lot of my guys used to do that. And then even one of my guys, he got a Burberry shirt from them, and he wore it. And I think he was out in a club, and one of these girls pointed it out, was like, you know, that's fake, right? You know, it's like a thing, you know. It was like, but it's about knowing, because again, bootleg stuff exists everywhere, but it's about knowing or forming relationships with people where they could get the stuff for you, because all those factories exist in China. That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. So what they're saying is, with all these brands, that's exactly where they're getting all their stuff from, which is actually very interesting. I wonder how this is gonna change as far as luxury brands and all that, because everybody's so into designer now, which is crazy to me. But like I said, I always felt like nowadays the material with the designer stuff is not as good as like older brands that existed before, especially like vintage stuff, just because they actually put more attention into that stuff back in the days. They actually like use materials that were very detailed. So it's actually funny that this topic is coming up, because now it would almost seem like the way designer brands, the material that they use, that seems fake to me if you compare that to older brands or the older stuff some of these brands even used to make back in the days. Like, if you feel the material, even with Jordans, bro, there's a difference between older Jordans and the newer Jordans they're making. You could tell, like, the materials they're using now and all that stuff. It's like, so I just want to see how this is gonna change anything as far as like how people deal with wearing designer, because it's a thing now where people don't really wear regular stuff no more. It's just all about designer, you know. But my perspective is I don't think that's gonna change anything, because I just feel like people are so hooked on, it's not really like the designer they're buying. It's more about the word luxury, bro. They're buying what they feel that word means, like the lifestyle that comes with that word, the feeling that comes with that word, as far as how people look at you when you have these things on. So it's like that's what a lot of people are paying for, whereas like they're willing to pay 5, 6, 7 times the amount of what something is actually worth, just for people to look at them a certain way, just for them to have that feeling. So it's like it's a sentimental thing. So I don't feel like people are gonna change anything. It's just gonna go in one ear and get out of the other ear. Now, I know certain people who are kind of already on a certain type of wave, already on a certain type of vibe. I feel like they're just gonna feel like, oh, okay, I was already on that. And then of course there's gonna be a few people in between that they're gonna change how they move and what they're gonna do, you know. But I feel like this is more so, if you ask me, people who make clothes, I feel like this also affects them and plays a role in their perspective of how they do things, you know. But I don't think, you would think this is gonna change some stuff, but I guess it is gonna change some perspectives. It is gonna change some perspectives. So it definitely is valuable information, which is why I'm talking about it. It's valuable information for sure. But as far as like people in the Western world and in Europe and all that stuff, same thing to some. Is it really gonna change anything? I don't think so. Just because people are hooked on this stuff, bro. It's like it's an addiction they already have to like a certain feeling that, and a certain thing that's been marketed to them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people who don't really subscribe to some of that, they'll call you cheap and stuff, which is fine, which is definitely fine. But at the end of the day, it's about what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? Like, how does this affect you? Like, do you care? And a lot of people, they care about perspectives too, especially like the way social media is, especially IG and stuff, where everything is about, like, there are certain people who don't post on IG just because they don't have that many outfits. You know, it's like it's a thing, bro, where everybody wants to be. Everybody's hooked on like this celebrity lifestyle, looking like a celebrity, looking like they're rich. You know what I'm saying? Where even style becomes about that now, or it's something that's crazy. Where it's like now dressing style is all about that. It's like how expensive is your outfit, not necessarily how fire is your outfit. You know what I'm saying? It's more about how expensive is your outfit, and that's crazy. Where that's not necessarily what dressing is about. It's about how fire your outfit is. It's not necessarily about how expensive it is. But that's what everything is about. It's just about, or everything has been meant to be about, where it's just about how much money can you spend. You know, how much money do you have? It's like a status thing. You know, where people even look at your outfit and it's like they feel like they could tell what tax bracket you're in. So a lot of people try to deceive and create deception based on an outfit, where you could be in a different tax bracket, but if your outfit looks like a certain way, people automatically assume it's like if your car looked like a certain way. And certain people play with those deception, and people are hooked on that. Or some people, they just want to feel that feeling for a certain amount of time, where it's just like, oh, it's the weekend, I'm going out, I just want to feel like, yeah, that's what it is. Leave my messed up house, maybe get in my nice car, or live my messed up house, get in my messed up car, but once I get out the car, I got all this designer on. I'm not thinking about that. I just feel like, yeah, I'm living the luxury life too. You know, sometimes that's how some people feel. It's that feeling, you know. And there are some nice designer pieces. Like, there's nothing wrong with having designer. Everybody could do whatever they want. It's just about, what are you doing? Like, what do you want to do? What you like to do? That's all that really matters. It's just all different types of people. They're into different type of things. But it's like, it's a thing. I want to see how this is going to affect anything, or if it's going to affect anything. I definitely have my opinions. But it's very interesting. I thought it was very interesting and deserved to be spoken on.